Jordan insisted on making hotel reservations for the event, and I should have realized something wasn't right. Flashing his phone at me, he said, "You've got enough on your plate, man. Let me take care of it." I should have asked why he was so eager to finalize a hotel, but I chalked it up to a simple favor between friends. When I nodded and thanked him, he almost looked arrogant, but at that moment, I was overwhelmed by the last-minute chaos, guest lists, seating charts, wedding stress. After all, pre-wedding jitters were normal, right? Jordan had been my best friend since college. Always dependable, always there. The rehearsal dinner was lively, filled with laughter and the clinking of glasses. For the first time in weeks, I allowed myself to relax, turning to Sophia, my fiancée, and telling her how radiant she looked. Her engagement ring glittered under the dim restaurant lights, her smile bright as she chatted with friends and family. For a brief moment, I felt at peace, but that feeling didn't last. Later that night, at the after-party in the hotel bar, I realized I hadn't seen Sophia in a while. I was in the middle of a conversation with my cousin, talking about everything and nothing, when I pulled out my phone and texted her, "Hey, where are you?" A minute later, my phone died, and Sophia was gone. I told myself it made sense. The entire day had been overwhelming, and maybe she just needed some air. Sophia was more reserved than I was, and all that attention must have been exhausting. But then I noticed Jordan had left too. A chill crawled up my spine. I turned to my cousin, trying to sound casual. "Hey, have you seen Jordan?" He just shrugged, probably grabbing more drinks. That didn't sit right with me. Jordan never left the party, without a damn good reason. Stepping outside, I checked the parking lot. His car was gone. Something didn't add up. Back inside, the party carried on. Everyone was still drinking, laughing, completely unaware. My father was deep in conversation with my groomsmen. Nobody seemed concerned that both the bride and the best man had vanished, except for Sophia's uncle. Out of habit, I pulled out my phone and opened Instagram. I wasn't expecting anything suspicious, just a few pictures from the evening, maybe a tag or two. But then I saw it. A second-long upload on Sophia's story. My heart almost stopped. It was dark, but I recognized the hotel's gold beige wallpaper in the glow of the bedside lamp. And then I saw something even more damning, a reflection in the mirror, the room number. The story was deleted almost immediately, but I had already seen it. For a long moment, I just stared at my phone, heart pounding in my ears. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. But deep down, I knew. I didn't rush. I didn't panic. I walked out of the bar, heading for the elevators, fingers clenched around my phone. The ride-up felt like an eternity. As I approached the door, my chest tightened. What if I was wrong? What if this was all just wedding paranoia? I knocked once. No answer. I knocked again. Silence. Then I remembered Jordan had given me a spare key card earlier that day. Just in case of an emergency, he had said. Ironically, that's exactly what this was. I slid the card into the lock. A soft beep. A green light. The door unlocked. I stepped inside. The room was dimly lit. The scent of perfume mixed with something else, something unmistakably masculine. And then I saw them. Jordan, Sophia, tangled in the sheets. For a moment, they didn't even notice me. The weight of reality crashed down on me. My best friend, the woman I was supposed to marry in less than 12 hours. Betrayal hit like a sledgehammer to the chest. I didn't speak. I didn't scream. I didn't lash out. I simply reached for my phone, not out of anger, not out of spite, for evidence. Jordan turned, locking eyes with me, and he smirked, not out of guilt, not out of fear, just that same arrogant sneer he always had when he thought he was in control. "She was never yours to begin with," he said. Sophia gasped, clutching the blankets to her chest. "Michael, please, I can explain." I didn't flinch. I pulled the engagement ring from my pocket and dropped it onto the nightstand. "It's fake anyway," I muttered. For the first time, I saw her face shatter. Jordan's grin widened. He always needed control, always needed to be the center of attention. Too bad for him. I was about to cut him off. "You think you won, Jordan?" I said quietly. You just lost your job, and you don't even know it yet. His smirk faltered. I turned and walked out. The night air hit me like a tonic, and I took a deep breath, gripping my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. The wedding was over, and so was everything else. But the storm? The storm was just beginning. Tears were streaming down her cheeks as she got into bed with her best friend and called it love. I assumed that when I cut her off, she felt abandoned, lonely, in need of someone who listened to her. She opened her mouth, then shut it. Sophia, you weren't alone. You were just entitled. She sobbed into her hands. I briefly observed her, then exhaled. Michael, I sighed, you did yourself a favor. I walked out and closed the door behind me. Jordan's ultimate meltdown, which lasted for 2 days, was the last time I ever saw him. I leaned against the door and exhaled. Later at work, a colleague nudged me. Have you seen the news? He took out his phone and showed me a viral Twitter thread about Jordan's arrest. I scowled and smirked. Apparently, he had arrived at Rachel's place intoxicated and furious. When she wouldn't let him in, he began yelling. Neighbors, witnessing the scene, contacted the police. When they showed up, Jordan made a poor choice. The thread featured a photo of him in handcuffs, looking scruffy. I stared at it for a long time, bruised from the fight, then breathed. His downfall was total. Sophia's new life was complete. Conversely, she had disappeared, and our mutual acquaintances had stopped talking about her. I deleted her social media accounts. One last update. Jordan wasn't the only one who lost everything. While she was working at her father's hardware business, 3 weeks after the wedding was supposed to take place, I received an unexpected promotion. I was summoned to a meeting with the CEO. I expected a standard check-in, but instead, he slid a contract across the desk. We're promoting you. I blinked. You're the best man for the job. You're intelligent, diligent. And let's face it, Jordan's mess created an opening. I grinned as I agreed to a contract with a greater income and more benefits. A few months later, while I was at a coffee shop, a woman approached my table. Hey, you're Michael. I looked up. She was gorgeous, with perceptive eyes and a kind grin. My name is Claire. I work at... Well, I saw what happened to you in your building, and I just want to say what you did was awesome. I laughed, but it wasn't forced. She sat down with ease, her eyes bright with interest. You seem like someone who could use a new beginning, she said, cocking her head. I smirked. Perhaps. She smiled. I grinned and reached for my cash, then paused when she bought me coffee. Because sometimes, karma gives you precisely what you deserve. Sophia and Jordan were gone from my life forever. My work was booming. Claire had entered my life like a gentle breeze. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could finally breathe. But karma wasn't done yet, because when you betray someone, the repercussions continue like waves crashing onto the shore, unrelenting and unstoppable. Sophia's downfall was swift. I hadn't heard from her since she came to my place pleading for forgiveness. I thought she had moved on, until one evening, my phone buzzed. An old friend, Jason, had messaged me. Hey, have you seen Sophia recently? I stared at the message for a moment before replying. No. Why? A second later, another notification. This time, a picture. For a moment, I didn't even recognize her. Her once well-groomed hair was tied in a messy bun, her bright, self-assured eyes hollow. She had lost weight, wearing an old polo shirt and standing behind the counter of her father's hardware store. Her cheekbones were more pronounced than ever. I scowled as I typed. Where did you see her? Jason replied. I stopped by the store to get something. She rang me up at the counter. At first, she didn't even recognize me. I exhaled. She had fallen from grace entirely. From planning a perfect wedding to counting change behind a cash register. Did she regret it? I didn't need the answer. I already knew. Jordan, on the other hand, was sinking like a rock. Rachel's public revelation of his affairs had gone viral. Thousands had shared the thread, and more people kept coming forward with their own stories about him. He had more enemies than I had realized, and now they were all emerging from the woodwork. Another message appeared on my screen. Check the news, coworker. Your boy Jordan is in deep. I clicked the link. The headline read, Former tech CEO arrested for disorderly conduct and public intoxication. Losing everything wasn't enough. Jordan had spiraled, drinking, fighting, lashing out at anyone in his path. The police found him unconscious in an alleyway behind a bar. His shirt was torn, his wallet gone, his pockets emptied. The attached photo showed a man who had once been arrogant, smooth-talking, untouchable. Now, pitiful. A week later, I was heading out of the office when I saw her. Sophia. She stood next to my car, arms wrapped around herself like she had been waiting for me. I could have walked past her, ignored her, but something inside me wanted closure. So I stopped. What are you doing here, Sophia? Her eyes were blurry with unshed tears. I lost everything, she muttered. I waited. My reputation, my friends, my job. It's all gone. I tilted my head. She swallowed hard. I was selfish, she admitted. I thought I could have it all. The thrill of something forbidden. The stability of what we had. I never imagined I would actually lose you. Her voice cracked. I sighed. What do you want from me, Sophia? She hesitated. I see now how much I took for granted. How much I threw away. I considered it. Then the only answer that mattered left my lips. No. She winced. I leaned in slightly. You made your choice. Now live with it. I walked away, and for the first time, she didn't try to stop me, because she knew deep down I wasn't coming back. Sometimes, betrayal is just the end of a story. Other times, it leads to ruin. Jordan would never recover. Sophia would live with regret. And me, I had moved on, because life is the best kind of revenge. Betrayal doesn't just burn bridges. It forces people to face who they really are. And for Jordan and Sophia, the whole internet was their audience. I started my morning like any other. Made my coffee. Checked my phone. My days were quieter now, drama-free. Then, one last notification. You're going to love this, Rachel wrote. I clicked the link. There was Jordan's latest public collapse, caught on camera. Because karma never forgets.